Markets once again in positive territory. We had a very positive week for the Nigerian market as a whole last week, given that we've actually seen all these numbers coming through from the banking sector. A lot of the industrials also posting very strong gains. What is your view on the overall market performance? Can we, with positivity, say that markets are going to go even higher from these levels?
Yes, I mean, what we've seen from the market is that response to the probe in the capital market has actually been very positive. Beforehand, the market already know some of the few things that has causing the lull in the market over this period of time. But the transparency that the probe of the capital market is bringing to fore is actually making investors to have more confidence about the market, looking at it more clearly and having wonderful information from that. I mean, again, what we are looking at is the fact that at the end of the probe, so many errors that have been made in the past, if corrected, can make the market to go further. So that's why you see increasing activities and a lot of positive growth in the kind of share prices of the market. Again, in addition to that, we've seen some good we've seen some good results being declared by some of these corporates on the NSE, and that's been actually affecting the price movement as well.
Okay, well, speaking of fixing the mistakes of the past, we know that AMCON was created just for that and ensuring that the banks look far healthier. AMCON is planning to sell MAINSTREET to Enterprise and Keystone on the capital market. How do you think markets are going to respond to this news?
Well, I think it's quite a good thing. I can say it has a lot of positive side. Well, we can have some downside as well. The most important positive thing about this is that it actually helped the market to see the kind of transparency in which the AMCON is trying to pursue the sale of these banks. You know, earlier on, there's been argument about the fact that government is just planning to take over those banks and letting investors just go away. But as it is now, by taking it back to the market, it's actually showing that truly the AMCON, the corporation, is actually after resolving the problem in those banks, making them clean, and then selling them back to the investing program, to the banking public. I said earlier, I said there could be some downside to it, and the downside could be that how the investor will look at it and say, are we sure that the same fate will not befall us again in the future? Since we are not involved in management, and the people who put in management has messed up the share, and we are getting punished for it. Going forward, are we going to have that? But I think AMCON has looked into that, and that's why AMCON is saying that the appointment of manager to these banks had to be approved by CBN as fit and proper people to be able to manage that and protect the interest of whoever shareholders will be coming in. I think it's a good positive to the market to see that these same banks that have left the market is coming back to the market.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, let's look at Union Bank now that we saw a rights issue. It was only around 15% subscribed, so some would say disappointing number that came through. What is your sentiments in this regard?
Well, again, it's very sad that the right issue of Union Bank wasn't as successful as we expected it to be, because this is because most of the investors have been complaining before that they would rather they capitalize the bank themselves rather than anybody else coming into it. However, I think to the bank, the implication isn't that very huge in the negative side. This is because what the right issue was supposed to do anyway was just to increase the existing shareholders' shareholding from 15% to about 21%. Since the new investor, Union Global Partners, have already invested about 60% in the bank, and AMCON is holding 20%, it means that the bank is not really in dire need of any new capital to affect the performance going forward. However, it has some very bad effect on the market, because for a market that has been, I mean, that have not been having any issue of capital raising over the years, this should have been a positive thing to say that the market is ready to absorb any equity capital raising. But with this, it's a dent on the market. However, I don't see any serious significant negative to the bank. But again, it can show that investors are really not so sure of the fate of these banks, and even if AMCON decides to sell the other banks on the market, they may not take it.
Okay,
that is possible.
So Femi, we also have those GDP numbers that we are waiting in anticipation for, because we know that it's going to be rebased to 2009, and we could actually see a dramatic lift for that GDP number. I suppose net, we're pretty much looking at the same growth, but obviously just a different way of looking at it. Is this going to have any economic impact, would you say, or market impact?
Yes, I think it's going to have some good economic impact. Well, there could be a little bit of negative as well, because, I mean, both sides always work together. But I'd see more positive than negative. In the first instance, by rebasing, clearly the only way it can happen is to go up. I mean, you look at an example of what happened in Ghana when the GDP was rebased to 2010. You see the kind of quantum leap in kind of the growth, I mean, the size of the economy of Ghana by 60%. Now, even assuming that what happened in Nigeria is only a 40% growth in, I mean, let's say a 40% increase in the size of the economy is going to affect our per capita income from about 1,600 that we have now to about 2,400. And what that means is that investors worldwide will now see the capacity of Nigerian consumers more than what it used to be before.
Yeah.
And therefore, there might be a lot of attraction to FMCG sector based on the capacity of the market. So we see this kind of boosting. Quite a lot of other negative can be there about, I mean, when you look at the size of revenue to the GDP. But again, what it means is that there is a large opportunity for improvement. Government can actually focus on ways of improving generation of revenue through economic activities that are improved.
Fantastic.
Because of that.
Femi, fantastic. Thank you so much, Femi. We have to leave it there, so thank you so very much for your insights and for joining us today. Femi Ademola joining us live from Lagos. He is from BGL.